Hi, welcome back to LP Human Anatomika. In this session, we are going to discuss about anatomical terminologies. Have you ever thought of what are anatomical terminologies? Have you any idea of how many terminologies you might have to learn in your entire course? Let us discuss few of them in this session. The learning outcomes of this session are: list the subdivisions of anatomy and their scope, describe the anatomical terminologies, which includes position, planes, terms used in relation to each region, discuss the systems of the body, and explain the terms related to the body movements. Human anatomy is the science which deals with the structure of the human body. The term anatomy is derived from the Greek word anatome, and anatome means cutting up. The term dissection is a Latin word equivalent to Greek anatome. However, the two words anatomy and dissection are not synonymous. Dissection is a technique, whereas anatomy is a wide field of study. Anatomy forms a firm foundation of the whole art of medicine and introduces the student to the greater part of medical terminology. Initially, anatomy was studied mainly by dissection, but the scope of modern anatomy has become so wide because of its possible techniques, which can enlarge the boundaries of the anatomical knowledge. The main subdivisions of anatomy are cadaveric anatomy. This is the study with the naked eye on dead, embalmed or preserved bodies, which is called macroscopic or gross anatomy. This can be done by one of the two approaches. Regional anatomy: the body is studied in parts like the upper limb or the lower limb. Systemic anatomy: the body is studied in systems like the skeletal system or the muscular system or the articular system. Living anatomy: this is studied by the following processes: inspection, palpation, percussion, auscultation, endoscopy, radiography, electromyography, etc. Embryology or the developmental anatomy is the study of the prenatal and postnatal developmental changes occurring in an individual. The developmental history is called ontogeny. The evolutionary history, on the other hand, is called phylogeny, where you are comparing the human development with that of the stages of evolution. Histology or microscopic anatomy is the study of structures with the aid of a microscope. Surface anatomy or topographic anatomy is the study of deeper parts of the body in relation to the skin surface. Example, palpating the artery. It is helpful in clinical practice and surgical operations. Radiographic and imaging anatomy is the study of the bones and deeper organs by plain and contrast radiography, which are done by ultrasound or computerized tomographic scans or MRI scans, PET scans, etc. Comparative anatomy is the study of anatomy of the other animals to explain the changes in form, structure, and function or morphology of different parts of the body. Physical anthropology deals with the external features and measurements of different races and groups of people and prehistoric remains. Applied anatomy deals with application of the normal anatomical knowledge to the various pathological conditions during medical and surgical practice on the clinical side. Experimental anatomy is the research study of the factors which influence and determine the form, structure, and function of different parts of the body. Genetics deals with the study of chromosomes. Systems of the body, okay, which will be dealt little in detail. The study of anatomy can be divided into 12 major body systems. These body systems influence one another and work interdependently and independently to maintain health. Respiratory system or pulmonology consists of nose to lung and the diaphragm. These structures receive oxygen to oxygenate the venous blood and help in elimination of carbon dioxide. Articular system or arthrology comprises various joints with their ligaments. Various types of movements takes place at the synovial joints. The joints provide integrity and stability to the adjoining bones. Muscular system is the system which moves the various joints of the body and is responsible for activity, locomotion and facial expressions. Circulatory system or angiology comprises cardiovascular system which consists of heart and blood vessels. Blood supplies nutrients and oxygen to cells and takes away carbon dioxide and wastes from cells and helps to regulate acid-base balance, temperature and water content of body fluids. Blood components help to defend against diseases and disease-causing organisms. Lymphatic system comprises of various lymph vessels which withdraw excess tissue fluid with macromolecules, filters it through lymph nodes and returns it to the venous system. Skeletal system or osteology consists of numerous cartilages and bones providing support and symmetry to the body. Cartilage keeps the respiratory pathway patent. Bones are the largest storehouse of calcium and provide attachment to numerous skeletal muscles for locomotion. Bones also make cavities or cages for protection of organs like brain, spinal cord, heart, lungs, and reproductive organs. Integumentary system or dermatology consists of the skin with its various appendages like sweat gland, sebaceous gland, and the nail. Skin is the outermost protective and sensitive covering of the body. Digestive system or gastroenterology or gastrointestinal tract comprises various organs associated with ingestion, mastication, deglutition, digestion and absorption of food components. This system also eliminates the solid waste from the body through the anal canal. It is made up of a long tube from the mouth to the anus and various associated glands like salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, etc. Urinary system or urology helps in excretion of liquid waste from the body. This system comprises kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. The kidneys filter the blood, produce, transport, store, and expel the urine at frequent intervals. Reproductive system or andrology in males and gynecology in females consists of different set of organs in males and females. In males, the organs are testes, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra, prostate, seminal vesicles, and penis. In females, the organs are ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, and vagina. These two sets of organs are responsible for the production of ovum and spermatozoa, which on fertilization, implantation, and proper nourishment in the uterus develops into a fetus. The fetus delivers out after 9 months of pregnancy. Endocrine system or endocrinology consists of ductless glands like hypothalamus, hypophysis cerebri, thyroid and parathyroid, suprarenal gland, and islets of Langerhans in pancreas, which produce hormones that are carried to various target organs via blood. In male, additional endocrine gland is testis, whereas in female, it is replaced by ovary. These hormones influence metabolism and other processes like production of spermatozoa and menstrual cycle. Nervous system or neurology consists of billions of neurons included in the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. This is the system which controls the whole body including its muscles, glands and organs. The nervous system controls both our voluntary and involuntary activities. The personality of the person is dependent on the integrity of the nervous system. Special senses. It includes senses of taste, sight, smell, hearing, balance and touch. Taste is appreciated by the papillae present in the tongue, epiglottis and soft palate. Sense of sight is appreciated in the retina of the eyeball. Receptors of smell are only present in the mucous membrane of the roof of the nasal cavity. Hearing and balance are compactly organized in the internal ear. Touch is perceived through the skin. Okay, so till now we discussed about the various subdivisions of anatomy. Now to start with the anatomical nomenclature. Most of the terms in anatomy are in Greek or Latin. Since Galen wrote his book in Greek and Vesalius in Latin. That is why if we don't understand anything, we tell it is like Greek and Latin. When we don't understand, everything looks Greek and Latin. 30,000 anatomical terms were in use by 19th century. The first meeting held to approve the list of anatomical terms officially was in 1895 by the German Anatomical Society in Bale, which approved list of about 5,000 terms as Bale Nomina Anatomica. 6 rules were laid down to be followed strictly, such as each part shall have only one name, each term shall be in Latin, each term shall be as short and simple as possible, the term shall be merely memory signs, the related term shall be similar. Example for this is femoral artery, femoral vein and femoral nerve. The adjective shall be arranged as opposites. Example, major and minor, superior and inferior. Bale Nomina Anatomica was revised in 1933 by a committee of the Anatomical Society of Great Britain and Ireland in a meeting held in Birmingham. The revised Bale Nomina Anatomica was renamed as Birmingham Revision. An independent revision of the Bale Nomina Anatomica was also done by German anatomists in 1935 and was known as Ana Nomina Anatomica. However, the Birmingham revision and Ana Nomina Anatomica found only local and restricted acceptance. In the 6th International Congress of Anatomists, held at Paris in 1955, a somewhat conservative revision of Bale Nomina Anatomica with many terms from Birmingham revision and Ana Nomina Anatomica was approved. Minor revisions and corrections were made at the International Congress held in New York in 1960 and Wiesbaden, Germany in 1965, and the 3rd edition of Nomina Anatomica was published. 4th edition of Nomina Anatomica, containing Nomina Histologica and Nomina Embryologica, was published in 1970 after it was approved by International Anatomical Nomenclature Committee in 11th International Congress of Anatomists held in Leningrad. Okay, so this was a brief history of the anatomical nomenclature, how it was derived. Now, going into the anatomical terminologies, few of them. Okay, before we actually go into anatomical terminologies, let us look into the terms used in the body. We would have studied it several times in our earlier classes, but it is better to revise it once more as we move ahead. Okay, so that is the head and neck. The trunk includes thorax, also called chest. Below chest is the abdomen and then pelvis from above downwards. Chest can be identified as front of thorax and back of thorax. It houses the very important organs, heart and lungs. Abdomen is the soft part which can be felt, where all the digestive and excretory organs are present. There is no bony protection in front of abdomen. Pelvis is where the reproductive organs are lodged. Pectoral girdle is the part which joins or connects the trunk to the upper limb. In the upper limb, the lateral parts in front of the chest connecting upper limb is the pectoral region. The back of the chest connecting upper limb is called scapular region. Shoulder region or shoulder is the region where the shoulder joint is present. Arm is the region next to the shoulder. Then elbow, where elbow joint is present. Forearm extending down below elbow up to wrist. Wrist is where wrist joint is present. Hand includes palm, which is light colored region present in front of hand. Dorsum, the dark region at the back of the hand. Fingers or digits where metacarpophalangeal and interphalangeal joints are present. All these parts, including pectoral and scapular region, is called upper limb. Pelvic girdle is the region which connects trunk to the lower limb. In the lower limb, hip is the region which is the first part of lower limb connecting to the pelvic girdle, and hip joint is present here. The next region is the thigh, then knee, where knee joint is present. Next to it, extending down, is the leg up to the ankle. Ankle is where the ankle joint is present. Foot includes sole of foot is the part which touches the ground. Dorsum of foot directed upwards, and toes. All these parts, including foot, we call it as lower limb. Okay, so that was a brief description of the parts of the human body. Coming to the positions. Okay, the first position we will look into is the anatomical position. The position in which a person is standing straight with eyes looking forwards, both arms by the side of the body, palms facing forwards, and both feet together is called anatomical position. Now the supine position is the position when a person is lying on the back, arms by the side, palms facing upwards, and feet put together. Okay, it is called as the supine position. The prone position is when a person is lying on the chest and abdomen and face directed downwards. This is called as prone position. Lateral position can be either right lateral or left lateral, in which a person lies on one side of the body. Lithotomy is a position when a person is lying on the back, that is on supine position, with legs up, with hip joints flexed and abducted, and knee joints flexed, supported by straps. Okay, so this position is called as lithotomy position. This position is mostly used during pervaginal examination, vaginal delivery of the baby, procedures like dilatation and curettage in gynecology practice, and performing cadaveric and surgical dissection of perineum. To look at the importance of anatomical position, the relationship of the anatomical structures to each other are described with the assumption that a person is in anatomical position. Okay. To illustrate this concept, let us take a simple example, okay, the direction of eyes. Now, in the supine position, okay, the eyes are directed upwards, and in the anatomical position is directed towards the front, okay. So, therefore, to have uniformity in describing anatomical relationships between the structures, anatomical position of the body is the gold standard, okay. So, even in the supine position, if the eyes are looking up or directed upwards, we have to describe eyes as in the anatomical position, that is, it is directing anteriorly, okay. So, we describe eyes always, whether in the supine position or the prone position, okay, as the eyes directing anteriorly and not as upwards or downwards, okay. So, this is very important. It applies to all the structures in the body. Okay, so always look at the relations of the structures in relation to anatomical position and not in relation to any other position of the body. Clear? Okay, now coming to the planes. The main concern of anatomy is to recognize the relationships, the connections between the individual components within the body. The planes are imaginary lines drawn in order to understand relations of internal structures or individual organs. Worldwide, the clinicians use these terms universally, and it forms integral part of international vocabulary of healthcare professionals. A vertical plane is passing through the center of the body, dividing it into two equal right and left longitudinal halves. Okay, this is called as the median or mid-sagittal plane. Plane parallel to the median or mid-sagittal plane is the sagittal plane. Any plane passing parallel to the median plane for dividing the body into two unequal longitudinal halves is called sagittal plane or parasagittal plane. A plane passing longitudinally at right angles to sagittal or median plane, which divides the body into anterior and posterior halves, is called the coronal plane. A plane at right angles to both sagittal, okay, and the coronal plane, which divides the body into upper half and lower half, is called a transverse or horizontal plane. Any other plane other than coronal, transverse and mid-sagittal planes is called oblique plane. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel and hit notification button. Join my private Facebook community where like-minded students will support, discuss, encourage and push each other towards reaching the goal. For link, visit the description area. Thank you for watching.